Welcome, everyone. I'm incredibly excited for today. Welcome to GEFcon20 again, brought to you by Global Esports Federation. I'm Angela Ruggiero, a four-time Olympian in ice hockey and CEO and co-founder of Sports Innovation Lab. We are a market research company that looks at fandom. We are obsessed with the future of sport, really trying to unearth the technology trends that are shaping sports, and that includes esports. So I'm excited to be here today with one of my great friends, Pau Gasol. Thank you so much for coming on. You're a legend. I'm so grateful you're lending some advice to this community. Thanks for being on.
No, thank you so much for having me, Angela. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and to discuss a topic like esports, which I'm still trying to learn more about, and I love to have this conversation.
Awesome. So this session's all about the esports nexus. You're a six-time NBA All-Star from Spain. You have 3 Olympic medals. So I have one more on you, but I'm confident you're going to get one in Tokyo. 2-time NBA champion. You're an unbelievable athlete. You're still training. You're getting ready for Tokyo. Just first, tell us where you're at with training and level set all of our viewers on your career right now.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm working on it. It's a difficult process. It's been a long process for me at this stage of my career in my life. Recovering from this injury, from this bone, from a bone fracture in my navicular. It's been quite a challenge. Probably the biggest challenge that I faced in my career. But it's easy in a way because it's just kind of a way of life. As far as working out, this is what I've been doing for so many years, over 20 years, approaching my life with a routine, with schedule, making sure that I get my work done, that I stay in shape, that I'm staying ready, and that I'm doing all the work that I need to do in order to give myself a chance.
Yeah.
Now it's just a little bit different, and the circumstances are different, and the means and the access. Luckily, I'm very privileged, and I have plenty of that. But at the same time, there's still some limitations because of the pandemic. Well,
let's get into that, because what I wanted to spend some of the time. You have had an amazing career in basketball. You've again been to 3 Olympic Games representing your country. You've won NBA titles. And you're a massive role model. We'll get into all the amazing things you've been doing with that kind of position you've been put in. There's a lot of young esports athletes that are now very recognizable, role models. Maybe you can kind of just start talking about some advice to them. Again, you are the epitome of a role model within what we call traditional sports, and esports is absolutely taking off. What is your advice to young people out there that are now seen as role models?
Yeah, what I would say, and from my own experience, what I try to recognize and be aware of, it's the impact that I could have. Thanks to the success that I was having as a basketball player, I started having an impact. Kids kind of were looking up to me. They were asking for my autograph. They were following me, and that's influence, that's impact. So I had to be aware of that, and how could I channel that in order to make positive impact and help others, especially the less privileged ones. So it was just a matter of awareness and really changing my lenses and kind of shifting a little bit my efforts to just me to a broader spectrum.
Yeah, no, well, thank you for what you've done, and really recognizing that the position that you're in. A lot of young esports athletes, I think, are suddenly in the limelight, knowing that they can influence. What about advice in terms of, you talked about it's really hard to train during the pandemic, but technology is obviously playing a massive role in not only helping athletes train more efficiently at home, but also connecting to their fans. Do you have any advice on how technology is changing both your training and connection to your broader fans at large?
Well, there's no question that technology provides a lot of possibilities to us. And during this pandemic and being sheltering in place and confined and so forth, and having to social distance physically from people and your loved ones, especially, and fans, you have to find ways to connect with them. I think, to me, social media has been able provide that purpose. And I've been doing more Instagram lives, having more conversations, doing more initiatives, creating more video content, making sure that we still connect and provide a service to the families that we work with at the Gasol Foundation, and everything else, doing more virtual summits that you were kind to participate in, the one that we did on health and wellness in Spain. And again, you can still be proactive and utilize those tools that you have access to in order to connect, to counter what you can do at this particular time. Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of being a little creative and adapting.
Yeah, nimble, adapting. That's the name of an athlete. You mentioned the conference that you hosted, which was amazing, all about helping the world, helping kids and people at large be better versions of themselves. You're also a global champion for nutrition and zero childhood obesity for UNICEF at the UN. 15 plus years. So this is not just, hey, I'm going to join late in the game. This is part of who you are. At GEF, there's a ton of NGOs affiliated, contributing to really building out, again, the same types of organization in esports that we've seen in traditional sports. Tell me why it's really important to partner with the UN and maybe some advice to the esports community as they think about getting a broader swath of partners like that built into the infrastructure of this sport.
Well, to me, again, always a couple quotes always come to mind to me. One is from Churchill. It says, "The price of success is responsibility," and the other one, "A life is measured by the impact you have on others," on the epitaph of Jackie Robinson. And it's a version of that. But so those are things that really stick with me, and I have present. I live my life that way. And once you have achieved a certain level of success, with that success comes responsibility. If you have a spotlight, a following, some type of fame, that's a responsibility. People are looking up to you. People are following you. So whether you want it or not, you're an example for them. And some people choose to embrace that. Others kind of run away from it. I didn't ask to be a role model. Like, I think Michael Jordan said that on his Last Dance documentary or piece with the Bulls. But at the same time, no matter if you ask or not ask for it, because of what you do and the success that you're having, you are. So it's just being aware and being mindful of that. You can affect a lot of people's lives, and you don't even know how much and how many lives you are affecting. So I would just really have that present.
I mean, that's amazing wisdom. I love both of those quotes. How would you think about that in the esports ecosystem, which is a very young, we're burgeoning, it's taking off, but to really think about, and Jeff is really core to this, the values that you've talked about, and you're wise beyond your years, pal. And this, again, why I'm encouraged in participating in as a partner of Jeff is this is about establishing the right ecosystem and the right values to esports. And you've talked passionately about, anti-bullying or gender equality, fighting obesity, quality of rest, etc. Can you relate some of that wisdom to the esports ecosystem in general?
Yeah, what I would do is to provide all the players, all the ecosystem of esports with the tools that would help them throughout their journeys, and would help them to be in good health as they're going through this profession, this career, right? And they're making a living, and they're enjoying this journey. So I would really pay attention on their health and their healthy habits. And I don't know how many hours average esports player is in front of a screen playing or practicing or getting ready for a championship or a tournament. But you have to find balance in your life, and you have to understand that doing a little too much of something has consequences. So how can you stay physically active? How can you continue to take care of your diet, get good quality of sleep, and then overall have a good emotional well-being? So all those things affect your health and your immune system, and that's something that I would try to create an ecosystem and environment where all those things were reminded, were important, and emphasized.
Yeah, that mind-body connection. I couldn't agree more. Late in my career, it was actually less training and more rest, less repetition and more mindfulness, right? Trying to lean on that holistic view of yourself as an athlete versus, hey, you're just going to hit another puck or shoot another ball. Do you have any specific pieces of advice, or perhaps a link to your training regimen and how you were able to evolve it just with that that thinking in mind?
I think it goes very much aligned with what you just said. I think as you evolve, you have to also change the way you practice and your approach, because your body also wears and tears. So the importance of rest is critical. The importance of finding things that kind of balance you from the high adrenaline, high exertion of the activity. So connecting with nature was in one.
Yeah.
Reading, continue to learn and read about whatever you're interested in, or just as a matter or question to disconnect. The power of visualization, as you said, mindfulness. Visualize that training, that play, that move in your mind without having to go through it with your body. So all those things are tools that you can utilize and incorporate as you go along, and you can learn about, and you can experiment and see what works for you.
Yeah. And then I love that advice. We talk about obviously the broader esports ecosystem, and there's on the one hand the controller version where you're with a controller and a keyboard. On the other hand, your body's actually your controller in esports, and this what we call active esports. Have you ever participated in either form? Do you have any advice, again, thoughts on the evolution, maybe in particular of the active esports, which I think you might have the right, you're over 7 feet, I think, but you might be able to crush some of these more active esports. Tell me about your relationship with both sides of it.
Well, I mean, what comes to mind to me is when the Wii came out, and you had those this video games that you could play being active and moving, which is an idea and a concept that I am more inclined towards, because if you're going to play a game and be in front of a screen, or have the virtual reality goggles on, you might as well be moving and being active. If that's going to be something that will substitute being outside and being in the playground, or playing sports in a traditional way where your body is moving, and you're contacting also with others in a physical way, in a different way that it is virtually. So I tried playing the Wii a little bit at the time. I got one at home back in Barcelona, but it caught me at a time where I had so much in my life and I wasn't a teenager anymore. So I didn't really get into it as much. But I'm definitely, I think, more interested and in favor of being active while you're playing the games. Yeah.
I wish someone, maybe for someone that's listening, if I could have decreased the reps and there was a game where I could actually use VR or AR to train or to evolve, my traditional sport. I'm wondering if you're seeing that on the horizon, or your thoughts on how VR, AR, active esports, or technology at large could train, help you better train and extend your career.
There's no question that technology will continue to increase its presence in sports and any other field and business. It's just a matter of how these different businesses incorporate that technology into their favor. So I'm sure that virtual reality or AI will be incorporated at a much bigger scale coming up and going forward. And there you already see the sports science being much more advanced and present in wearables and tracking activity, loads, minutes, distance, heart rate, how much salt we get rid of on our sweat. There's so many things that are now being tracked in order to enhance performance and avoid and prevent injuries. See how much you can push your body in a safe way. So again, technology is going to continue to evolve quickly, as we know, and it's just on us to take advantage of that advancement, but always keeping an eye, I think, on not overdoing it, because there's a certain essence that we don't want to lose and we just don't want to just give up or give up control, let's say, to technology, because it's so powerful, as we know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we've at Sports Innovation Lab, we've tracked literally hundreds of these different types of technologies that are helping athletes monitor, measure, predict performance, prevent injury. I'm a little jealous. I retired almost 10 years ago now. You've been able to keep pushing through, getting better every year, and you're on the cusp of your 4th Olympics as well. So I'm definitely rooting for you. But the amount of information that athletes, including esports athletes, now have at their fingertips to extend their careers and really train effectively outside of just the thing that they do is mind-boggling to me. So definitely paying attention there as well. Tell me about your foundation. I'd love for everyone to learn more about what you do and how that might fit in with, again, the esports community. But you've been so passionate. You've been such a role model. And I want to make sure everyone that is listening today can learn about what you're doing with your foundation.
Well, first of all, I will start saying that, coming from a family and parents that have worked their entire life in the medical field, that's kind of what inspired us to be very health oriented in our family. I think also, both all of our, the 3 brothers, we really, try to take care of ourselves, try to embody what it means to live a healthier, balanced life. And we, as we saw the obesity pandemic increase and the percentages of obese and overweight children in our world continue to increase in really alarming numbers, we had to do something, and that's why we created the Gasol Foundation in 2013. When we heard that the children, the generation children that were born today, were going to be the first generation that would live shorter than their parents in the first time in the history. Why is that? Because of habits. So we had to be aware of that, and what we do is, one of our logos or mantras is empower children to live healthier lives through healthy habits, and that is being physically active, doing 60 minutes of activity a day, physical activity, eating well, and that doesn't mean always like only eating vegetables and fruit. It means like having a healthy and balanced diet, and whatever. And diets can be subjective, and our bodies are different, but there's some standards that I think we can all follow and agree on. Then the importance of sleeping well, and turning off the screens, for instance, as the WHO recommends, 2 hours before going to bed, so your mind is unplugged and disconnected and not stimulated by any type of screen, whether it's phone, tablet, or TV, and then how that translates into being in a good state emotionally. In a world of so much uncertainty, so much adversity, of where we need to connect with each other, even if we can do it virtually. And there's been plenty of platforms that allow us to do that, such as this one. Still, I think we are creatures that need to connecting with others in some type of physical way, or in different physical ways. So it's just like, again, that's important as well. So all of our programs have these 4 pillars, is what we call the healthy galaxy, the healthy planets, and the conference that you participated was called Planets, and it's something that we want to do now on a yearly basis, and bring in different panelists, different people, different experts to talk about the importance of all those things, and how to carry a healthy lifestyle so you can have a fulfilling lifestyle or life, reach your potential, and enjoy a good quality of life for you and your children. Yeah, so that's what we try to do.
I love that. I mean, it makes sense if you grew up with your parents were in the medical field. You've now been an elite athlete for 2 decades, literally. Rookie of the year, right? You've gotten better. You've honed your skills, and I love to see athletes that are able to extend their careers because they're really thinking of that holistic approach to training and health, and whenever you decide to retire, I'm sure you'll take that into the rest of your life, which is one thing I love about what you learn as an athlete, and probably why you're so passionate about the Gasol Foundation is it's just, anyway. So I commend you for that work and wish you the best of luck in that.
Thank you. Well, this is what life is about. For me, it's impacting others and taking advantage of your success and translate it into something much bigger. Basketball has been fantastic, really a privileged stage of my career and journey. But at the same time, it's been just a platform in order to do bigger and better things, and utilize that experience and knowledge to impact others in a positive way.
Yeah, amazing. You can tell that you got a big heart, pal.
Thank you, Angela.
On the business side, is there anything, again, you've been on the business side of sports, you understand the traditional side. Esports is looking at, I think, traditional sports in a lot of ways of just the infrastructure and how it's being set up. And likewise, we're learning, the traditional sports side is learning a lot from esports and how they're digitally native. Is there any advice you have to the esports community as they set up this infrastructure, be it values, be it, the infrastructure, how they really organize themselves for the future?
Well, I'm a big believer of joining efforts on preparing and getting perspective, on learning for what's being done, but also where you can go. And I'm also trying to be a part of the evolution of sports and be involved in that change, whether it's through the Olympic Committee, as you know, as I'm a candidate to the Athletes Commission that you chaired for years, and to different companies that are coming out and are trying to lead the charge, also such as yours, in investing and partaking into those companies and being part of this growth and this change that it's unavoidable, right? And it's for the most part also needed because things need to evolve, need to adjust, need to improve in this world. So again, just getting knowledge, bringing people with different mindsets, backgrounds, perspectives, a diverse group of people, I think will only enrichen the goal, the company, the business, and again create that healthy ecosystem, getting ahead of potential issues, having no tolerance for bullying, for racism, for any of that. Making it a safe place for children. If you want, we got to think about, would we want our children to be part of this business or this activity, and how can we protect them? It's not just about the professionals. It's also about children that might look up to this as a path, as somewhere that they might want to spend a significant time of their lives doing. So I think that's kind of what we have to approach it too.
Yeah, no, I love that. Which is one reason you mentioned you're running to be on the International Olympic Committee Athletes Commission, which I did share. And again, you got all the right traits. So I know you're training hard for the Olympics in Tokyo, and a candidate for that. So I'm obviously rooting for you and wish you the best of luck in that election. Maybe we can quickly talk about the Olympics, the NBA, kind of the next year. It's been for all athletes in your position really hard, the pandemic, but there's light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully with the vaccine and Tokyo. We have the Olympic Games director, Christophe Duby, up in a couple minutes, who's overseeing the delivery of that. So hopefully there'll be a nice platform for you in a few months.
Yeah, no, there's no question. I'm a big believer that the Olympics will figure it out how to go forward and have a safe event for athletes and trainers and potentially fans if that's possible. But it's been a hard year for most Olympic athletes, training, preparing, trying to qualify for their dream, having to postpone the Olympics, an event that they prepare for thoroughly for 4 years, move it a year. It's very impactful and to some cases very detrimental. So it's been a very challenging year, very hard year for most people in the world. But for Olympians, that's their highlight, as you know. And we've been lucky enough to participate in 4 of them. Me, 4 of them. I think you participated in 5 of them, if I'm not mistaken, or is it 4?
4.
So we're tied. Yeah, we're even. So, but I feel completely very privileged and incredibly fortunate to have experienced that 4 times in my lifetime. So for an athlete to participate in one time, it's their highlight. I mean, it's their moment to shine. It's something that they worked so hard for so long, and for that to be changed, postponed. Maybe they were going to play or they were going to qualify, and now they might not be able to. And I know that many other competitions have been canceled as well in order to prepare, and they haven't been able to access the facilities. In a lot of cases, it's been a real struggle as I talk to different people from the federations and the committees in the U.S. and in Spain. So again, just send words of encouragement. You know, the harder the road, the bigger the reward, and you just got to embrace the challenge, embrace it, and just help you grow and get you stronger mentally and physically. And it comes up more up to you to set up your routine at home, push yourself at home in whatever means you have, and the space that you might have, and just go for it.
Yeah, thank you for that. I always love hearing your quotes and your advice, pal. And again, wishing you, I'll be cheering you on in Tokyo. And I know this community is looking, trying to understand, is esports going to be a part of the future? Is that something? Is virtual sports, is, these dynamic digital sports? You and I have been so lucky that we've had that amazing experience at the Olympic Games and Paralympic Games. There's nothing like it. You once told me, I know we got to wrap soon, but a quote you've mentioned before to me is knowledge empowers balance and choice. And I wrote that down. So I was like, I love that. It's like, how do you educate yourself? How do you improve? Constant learning. You're someone that I feel is always constantly learning, looking out to try to be a better version of yourself, whether it's on the court or off the court. Any other advice, again, that this again, whether it's the athletes in this community, the NGOs, the federations, the publishers, anyone that is in this global ecosystem, words of advice in terms of that constant learning that I've heard from you?
Yeah, well, knowledge is power, and I think the more you know, the more prepared you are, the better chance you have. And that goes from your ability and your willingness to learn from anyone. In any conversation, in any interaction, just have an open mind, be intentional about your conversations, develop relationships and friendships. I've been so lucky and blessed to get to know you and get to pick your brain, and you've been a great help in many regards. So you can do that with as many people as you want or you need to, and it's beautiful to see. I think being connected and learning from each other, it's very, very important. Reading books, it's obviously another form. Watching documentaries, there's a lot of content out there that we can research and benefit from, learn from the past, from the ones before you, appreciate what they've done, what they've built for you, and then apply it on your daily basis. So whether it's as an athlete, as a professional, as a partner, as a person, there's so much there, and always with that, I can always do a little better, right? I can always learn something new. There's always something out there that I'm missing, and being part of diverse groups where you're not just sitting with people that think like you or agree with you at all times. Embrace the argument, or embrace different. Pay attention to it, listen to it without judgment, and that's how you enrich in your life. That's how you get to a different level.
I love it. You've got the growth mindset, and you mentioned about bringing the right people together. Jeff is all about that. World connected. We have to learn from one another. And I'm certainly blessed to you join us today to share your wisdom and advice. And again, I'm definitely cheering for you. I'm going to be like high-fiving both for the election, but also, another medal. And, not that medal's everything, but
they're fun. But they're
on
fun.
The court.
They're fun to get.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, pal.
It's
been fun to have you. And again, best of luck in your training, and enjoy time with your family.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for having me. Enjoy the rest of the conference, and thanks everyone for connecting and following the conversation.
Awesome.
All right.